Hey guys, this is Darryl Addison at Torpedopot.com. Darryl Addison, Torpedopot.com, and the lovely plants that you see behind me are first of all, these are self-growing planters. I put the nasturtium at the bottom of the plants in. I put them in as seeds earlier this year, I would say around March of this year. And we're looking at hibiscus that was probably only about, I'd say about 3 feet tall, and right now it's about 7 feet tall. We put those in around March the same time, and they've been growing all year, all this year up until now. I want to take out the nasturtium and start harvesting them. I want to show you how to harvest the nasturtium. The hibiscus in this region, sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't come back, so they might end up being a total loss. But these are self-growing planters. They've been growing my food now since the beginning of this year. And what I am about to do is to harvest my nasturtium at the bottom and just put the hibiscus on its own, or even put new carrot seeds inside of the base to replace the hibiscus. Because all I do is drop my seeds in, I put my plants in my self-growing planters, they grow my food with no human intervention, and I don't have to worry about anything at all. So when I want healthy food, I just simply come out, I pick it off, and I eat it, and I enjoy it. This is what's so good about the nasturtiums, is that the flowers are edible, the stems are edible, the plant is completely edible, so you can use it in so many different ways. The flowers have a nectar, sweet taste to it, and the stems themselves and the leaves, they have a very peppery taste to it, and they go so well in a lot of your meals. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to harvest them. Our self-growing planters have been growing these plants now all through the year, and now they're as tall as 7 going into 8 feet, and they really did a fantastic job. So every time somebody drives by this location, they see the plants outside, they're thinking that, man, we took a long time took a lot to take care of these plants. We had to feed them, grow them, and all this other stuff, but we don't. I put them in March, and they've been growing on their own. I fertilize maybe once a month with a 3-12-12 solution as I see fit, and I walk away. I haven't done anything at all to these plants, and they've been doing just perfectly. So, as you know, Torpedopot, we have multiple seasons out of the year in which we grow food. So this was my first season where I put in my hibiscus and I put in my nasturtium. My second season, after I pull my nasturtium out, I'm going to put in my second season of crops, which will probably be some carrots. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of full sunlight there at that location, but nevertheless, it is exposed out here to the weather. And unfortunately, the cold air doesn't blow on these plants to try to destroy them. So they should last a pretty long time. So let's go try harvesting, see what we get out of these things. So the nasturtium is a fantastic plant because not only does it allow you to have beautiful flowers, but the leaves are peppery and they're delicious. And these are the seeds that are going to come from that growth. Now I can let these develop into seeds if I wanted to, but I choose not to. I'm going to cut them all down and use them as I feel fit. Oh, this is delicious. Before I step out in the morning, the flowers have a very sweet taste to them. When you grow them in these self-growing planters in the torpedo pots, torpedo pot allows you to grow plants, develop its natural colors, its flavors, all the natural tendencies, which means that you get all of the natural nutrients that you should be getting out of your food. And it's unbelievably good. Wow, it's amazing, guys. So I'm going to start harvesting. I'll move the camera a little bit closer so you can see my harvest taking place, okay? Hope this is not too bad. Now, these are a lot of plants, and some of them have grown over and over and over again, which means that you're going to have a lot of old leaves inside of here from what has been harvested earlier and what has came and died earlier because they're constantly growing and they're filling spaces. So we're going to have a lot of stuff in these planters. So what I do is I come around the rim of the planter, I just cut it off. Now let's move the camera back so we can separate and take a look at it. That's amazing. I love this. I love these torpedo pots. They're really great to have. And so I've got to separate all of the leaves and everything else from all of the alive situation, and we'll pull them together. But let's get them on the table first. Show you what one planter can actually create. I've got kale growing in here also. I'm just going to leave it there and just cut everything down. I've got 4 of these huge planters that I'm going to cut back. It may be a little late to put carrots inside of here, but I'm going to do it anyhow as I go into the winter time. Gosh, it's a lot. Now, the remaining of these, as I see them and I need them, I'm going to pull them out. Okay, that's good. So I want to put some carrot seeds in here, and the nasturtium is pretty well entrenched. So all I'm going to do is pick them up from the roots and I'm going to pull them out of here. Now normally I would take this and throw it in my compost bin because some of these will take and grow back next year. So I'll take my leaves and put it on top of my compost bin, and I'll get a lot of nasturtium next year within my compost. And it's great too because they've been growing in this healthy environment. So before I take the root systems out, I normally clean it out. It'll be easy transfer. For those who don't know, these are self-growing planters. They grow your food with no human intervention. These are food. This is called nasturtium. All we do is put our seeds inside this planter, and this one, which is the hibiscus, was only about 2 to 3 feet tall. And we put that inside, and it's grown, and now it's growing to about 6.5 feet, 7 foot tall for this one right here. And so I'll continue to pull this out, get all the leaves and stuff out of here. Now, normally I don't take the leaves out, I'll leave it inside of there because they'll act as food and compost for the next generation. I'll just pull this out right now. All that I can get out, I get out slowly. This is great. Don't have to do much. It doesn't require much. Snaps right on out. Even got a kale plant that's just the other side of here, which is great. All right, so that's out. So all I do is sweep up my base, get it cleaned up, and I'm going to drop my my carrot seeds inside of here, and I'm good to go. Isn't that beautiful? Again, these are torpedo pots. These pots have been running now for about 3 years. So in 3 years, we've had them at multiple locations. I think we've had at this location, we moved in this location last year. For 3 years, they've been growing and providing food for us. They've grown tomatoes, squash, eggplants, you name it. It's grown everything inside. Cucumbers, all types of flowers, cabbage, collards, you name it. As you can see, some of the kale was inside of there. So these are self-growing planters, and they grow your food with no human intervention. All I did with the nasturtium and so many other ones, I simply drop the seeds in, and I walk away for the rest of the year. And this soil is unbelievable. I want to show you the quality of the soil you're getting. Look at that. Isn't that unbelievable? That's beautiful. That's what a self-growing planter will do for you. It grows your food with no human intervention, and the quality of the soil that it produces is amazing. This soil has been in this planter for about 3 years, and all we do is add soil to it. It doesn't deplete down as you think it does. These plants have been inside of here. You can see the soil still looks topped off, doesn't it? Absolutely. So the amount of nutrients and ingredients that it's pulling out of the soil from that bio mix inside of there is not as great as you think it would be. In a great growing environment, you don't have soil being wasted. The soil remains inside the self-growing container, and it releases the nutrients as the plant goes down and creates an environment to do so. So I want to put some carrot seeds in there. Give me a step away for 1 minute, get the carrot seeds, I'll be right back. Talk to you guys later.
I got the steps coming out, so
Okay.
so we have to pretty much direct them to registration form. I have to go on the website.
You still doing this?
No, because I have steps. Like I have like 10 steps in order for them to complete the registration. And the registration form is not uploaded on the website. I know what you're saying. Like the registration is on the website. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. Whew, I wish I had it on me, but I didn't. These are called little finger carrot seeds. I don't know if you can see it inside this, but we get our seeds from Urban Farmer. And they're called little finger carrots, okay? Which are small, little tiny carrots that are all over the place. So we're gonna drop this across this planter. Let's create a divot first so that we can put our seeds in. I'm just gonna take my finger, create a little hole there to drop my seeds in, that's all. Pull it back. Oh, look at this. Wow. Look at that, guys. An egg. Don't ask me where it's from, but that's an egg in my planter. Oh, I guess. Wow. That's the reason why this nest was here. So this egg must have fallen out of this nest, and that's amazing. So that's what's so good about your self-growing planters. What we've seen when we are growing in these self-growing planters, these torpedo pots, is that because they water and they provide the nutrients for your plants are healthy. And a lot of the animals come by and insects come by and they feed off of this environment. They live in this environment. And so, wow, this is amazing. This was in the soil. Now, who would bury the eggs in the soil? I don't know, guys. But it's great, and I think it's great we have it on film. So this is how I interact with nature, and I don't necessarily have to be out in the woods. I'm bringing back nature with my torpedo pot. Now, had I had this in the ground, a lot of these things would have been dead already because, again, the seasons changed, and they're not, the environment in which the plant is in is not being supportive at this point, all right? It's receding, and so is it in the torpedo pot. But there are different fruits and vegetables that can grow during different seasons. And that's what we use that energy of the fruits and vegetables that grow during that season in order to feed our families and the people around us. And that's what Torpedo Pot does. Torpedo Pot creates a healthy environment for your food so that it can grow. And it's not only feeding you. You know, I tell my clients all the time, when you're growing in a self-growing planter, in a Torpedo Pot, they tell me, Darryl, what does it take to cause a plant to grow? And if I ask my clients, a lot of them would say it takes water. But I want to share with you, in the torpedo pot, even though it's a self-watering system, its design is much more than that. Why? It's because it takes more than water does not grow your plants. Okay? I don't want you to think that water grows your plant. Water does not grow your plants. Water kicks off an environment that causes your plants to grow. It's the environment that not only feeds your plant, allows your plant to feed themselves, but it feeds, after the plant feeds themselves and they're healthy, they can provide food for the animals and species that are around them. So torpedo pot does the basic. It provides food for the environment so other plants and living species and animals, insects, and all those things can feed off of your plants and enjoy themselves and have a life. And this is a true testament of that. Let me see if I can dig and find any more inside of there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my little finger carrot seeds and I'm going to put them inside of this planter. I'm going to sprinkle them in a little liberally so they will have something to move around in. So here we go. Now I'm going to push the soil forward and cover it up. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to dig a little crevice, put my seeds in. Make sure I don't find another egg in here. And I'm going to put my seeds in it. I'm going to cover it up also. Got a little stone in here. I don't mind it. Put it next to the tree. Now, I don't know how much time that took. I didn't have to put on any gardening clothes. And guess what? I've just planted my next season a crop. I pulled out one, which is nasturtium. I've just planted another season, which is the carrots, fingers. In the meantime, I picked out nested eggs that are inside of my torpedo pot. Now, what I want to tell you about is this. Torpedo pot grows your food. It creates an environment. Does all those great things. It feeds you, provides you nutrition for you and your family to grow. It gives you a stable food supply. But more importantly, I want you to understand this. And think a little bit deep about this. We just replaced a crop that was in the torpedo pot, the nasturtium that we pulled out, right? We just replaced a whole crop of food that is edible and is delicious. And we put in another crop growing for the next season, and we did it in less than 15 minutes. But the most important thing is that with the torpedo pot, because it grows your food, not only can we do it in 15 minutes, but understand this. The shovel, the spade, the trowel, your tiller, the underground watering systems, my weeding, all of that has been eliminated. 90% of the tools that you're buying to take care of your gardening needs are not needed anymore. With Torpedo Pot, you get to throw away all of your tools. You don't need your tools anymore. You don't have the problems that other people have in their garden with the Torpedo Pot. That's why in Torpedo Pot, you can set it and you can forget it. So when I say my plants are growing without me being there, well, that's exactly what's taking place. My plants are growing and they're feeding the environment. All the birds and their eggs and their children are being fed from my Torpedo Pot. I don't need those tools. So when I'm walking Home Depot and Lowe's, understand this. Every tool that you see in the lawn and garden department, you don't need them anymore. Stop wasting money trying to grow food that never materializes. Stop wasting money trying to grow food that you're throwing fertilizers at and you're killing yourself. Torpedo pot grows your food without having to have all of those chemicals, without having to have an elaborate environment. I'll have more food at the end of my year with my torpedo pots growing food than you will have. Torpedo pots of this size right here, we already grew over over 1,000, probably 1,400 peppers this year. Normally, in a planter like this, one planter can grow from 75 to about 150 to even 1,000 tomatoes, 1,000 of the cherry. Big boy tomatoes from 75 to 100. So you can grow a lot of food in your torpedo pot. You support nature. You don't use fertilizers and chemicals to destroy your life. I don't know what's in here. I wish I could take this egg and put it inside of a hibernation chamber, a chamber inside the house, so that it can start to develop and to grow itself. But I don't have those capabilities. That's not my focus. My focus is mainly to show you guys what to do with torpedo pots. So I want to show you guys to see what for this torpedo pot does, and I'm going to pull this camera back again so we can get a bird's eye view of what this crop is going to look like. Straighten up a little bit for you guys. Okay. Alrighty now, so this is what this crop looks like. I'm gonna put my little bird egg up here. I don't know if the bird will come back and get it, but I'm gonna be happy. So out of that one torpedo pot, we were able to pull out all of this nasturtium. I'm gonna go through the nasturtium, and there's two aspects of the nasturtium I'm harvesting. I'm harvesting the leaves themselves, which are edible and delicious, and I'll be able to use it in so many different places. And I'm also harvesting the root systems. The root systems, because most of your nasturtium, they come back year by year, every year. And all I have to do is put them in the ground and have them catch, and they'll return back again. So I'm going to take this nasturtium, put it in my compost pile, so that I'll have fresh greens coming back every year. Now, why is that important? Because I know that this nasturtium was grown in a very nutritious environment. So I know that this plant is healthy, and it will give me years and years of food. Darrell Addison, Torpedopot.com, where we make self-growing planters in the background that you see back here that grows your food with no human intervention, where you can grow a lot of food, more food than a farmer can produce at your house with little to no effort at all. All you do is set it and you forget it. And what you're going to get from it is years of nutrition. You're going to get take away your dependency upon the existing food supply that maybe you don't feel like eating. You're going to have loads of learning that you're going to have from these torpedo pots, because they're going to give you a part of nature that you've never seen before, nutrition that you've never experienced before. That's what torpedo pot does. Darrell Addison, Torpedopot.com. I'm gonna cut this second one down. Is that okay? I don't want to make this video too long, and let's see if we can cut this down while I'm still here. I want to put some of the carrot seeds inside of there, and these stems. I want to make sure the roots that we have for these right here, I want to make sure I send them out to the back so they can be situated. Or I might even just put them in a bag and store them for the wintertime, see what happens from there. Because they come back so well. And put them in a nice warm place so I know they won't freeze and die, stuff like that. And see what happens. But for the most part, I'll just store them in the back. And the compost pile will do just fine. So let's go and see if we can cut down another one. Is that okay? Push this aside. And you've seen one, so let's do another one. There's a kale growing in here also. Oh my gosh. Beautiful, beautiful kale plant. I'm going to put that in the back also. It'll take root, and then it'll go through the winter time. Kale does very good. It's a biennial plant. Every 2 years, it takes 2 years for it to seed. The first year it goes, it starts to grow. The second year, develops seeds and starts to mature. As you can see from this plant, the amount of leaves that we've pulled off of that plant and eating it as you just simply walk by and pull it off. It's a lot of leaves. Let's get a closer inspection on that one. And it's still beautiful. It's fighting for light with the nasturtium and the other plants that are inside the planter, but it survived, and I love it. I do love that. Okay. 2 planters down, 2 to go. I'm going to put in the carrot seeds down. Just take a look. I'll bring you a little bit closer, okay? So you can see that also.